All right, for this video, I'm going to talk a little bit more about shapes and how you can use them as your graphics for a presentation. So you can see here I made this little bear, and if you have an Apple Pencil, something worth noting is that if you tap the middle of the presentation, once your pencil's connected, that's an important first step, it will automatically go into drawing mode, which can be a little bit frustrating when using shapes. So typically when you do shapes, it's a better idea to just use your finger. So I hit done to get rid of that. So to add a shape, I'm gonna go here to plus, and there's a lot of categories. There's over 700 shapes in the shape library. When you don't change their color at all, they are always gonna look blue. Depending on your Keynote you choose, they might sometimes be a different color. I'm gonna go ahead and add a sun to my picture because it really needs that. And here's a sun. Something to notice is that the sun has darker pieces, but then a circle of see-through. If I try to touch where the see-through is, now it's gonna be hard to do it in this one because it's so, was small. But if I try to touch the see-through, I cannot move the shape. But if I try to touch where it is solid, I can move the shape. So that's important to note, and it can be really frustrating when you're trying to move things around if you do it differently. So here I have a sun. Immediately, I don't want it to be blue, but I might want to change some other things about it. So I have a lot of options when it comes to shapes. One of the really cool options is I can break it apart. So I have it selected. I'm going to choose at the top, first the paintbrush if it's not already selected, and then arrange. When I go to arrange, if I have a shape that looks like it can break apart, then I'm going to go ahead and break it apart. So here now, woo, my sun is so many pieces. So I'm gonna tap outside of it, and now I can select each of those pieces as something different. Now I can make each of these different colors now if I want to by going back to the paintbrush and selecting it and going to style. So now maybe I want this one yellow and this one red and then yellow and then red, etc., following a pattern. Those colors are kind of bright. Don't necessarily go with what my picture is, but it's quick and easy for this video. So now the middle one, I can go ahead and choose that one, or I can do a gradient. So I went into gradient and I go here and I'm like, ooh, I don't want blue at the bottom, but I might want orange at the bottom. But that's kind of a brownie orange, so maybe like that. Ooh, that looks better. Okay, so now I have a sun that is different and unique, and no one else is gonna have it. Ooh, if you notice right there, that's an important thing to notice. These are all still different. These are all still separate sizes. So what gets complicated is that now I have all these pieces on my page. If I do hit select all, it's gonna select everything, and it's gonna group them all together. So now I have one big thing, which is maybe good, maybe bad. The best thing to do when you're trying to build lots of animations is to build them one at a time, and then you can take the one item that you've built and maybe break it apart like we just did. And so we're over here arrange, and we do break apart, and maybe this time I'm choosing to get rid of some of them. Maybe I don't want all these, I only want some of them. Maybe I'm making some sort of different shape that I'm going to use to mean something else. Who knows? And maybe I want to make this piece in the middle smaller. So now that I have all these, I'm thinking, okay, now I want it all the way to the right of my page, but I can't really just do that unless I want to drag them all separately. So now I can do select all, then I can group them, and then now I can move them as one unit. I could now, too, take this and I could put it back on one of my pages. And so now I can have the freedom to do that. So that's an option too. If you begin to build and you see like, I want to make something, but I can't do it on here because I can't do it separately, that's one of your choices. Now when you have all of these cool things with shapes, you might want to have some animation with them. So I'm going to use this one here, and I'm going to see that, oh, I have an option. It is called animate. So I'm gonna add, do I want it to build in or do I want it to build out? I can decide. And then I have all of these things that I could make it do. Now it is a sunshine or whatever. It's kind of a weird shape now, but maybe I want it to spin. So there it goes. So I'm gonna say, okay, if I came to this slide, pretend this looked really awesome. Here's my next slide, and then I tap, and then look at that. It spins around. So I can go back to the animate and look at my spin and see what are the settings on that. It's going to spin for 1 minute and 50 seconds. It's going to go to left to right. It's going to bounce on. It's going to start on tap. All of these I can edit. I can make it go longer. I can change the direction. I can make it bounce off, bounce on, bounce off, choose there. And then I can also just have it start on transition so I don't have to tap it. So many choices. So that is just an overview of shapes. Anything you want to add to a Keynote is always from a plus. So there's a plus here, right? There's the plus. Here's my shapes. At the top, there's like a little grid, then a little pie, and then a box, and there's all my shapes. And then if I want to add a new slide, it's also a plus here at the bottom. Okay, good luck. Happy creating.